Welcome back. I have been dying to make this video. As a freelancer myself, I'm very happy to be making this video because it's something that I wish I had stumbled on when I first started my journey as a freelance makeup artist. And I'm sure the videos exist. I just never found them. But I wanted to put my own spin on the topic and just kind of go over things that I have learned and things that I think every beginner artist should know. Specifically speaking to freelance makeup artists that want to get into the film and television industry. So without further ado, let's talk about the world of freelance makeup artistry. Film and television edition. I have like a lot that I want to cover. So I'm just gonna go over all of my notes that I have here that cover all the things that I think are important to learn or to know, not just as far as things that you should have, but also things to be aware of, like how to be, what to do when you're on set. Let's get started. So the first thing that I want to cover is having the right stuff in order to be a successful freelance makeup artist in the film industry. And I also just want to say that I've been doing makeup for maybe 5 years, and there are still a lot of things that that I'm still learning, and there are still things that I don't always get right all the time, and sometimes I get overwhelmed and I get flustered, and people have been mean to me, and it's just, sometimes you just have to deal with it. But I'm here to hopefully help other makeup artists out there who are wanting to jump into the film industry, who maybe are just getting started. And if there are any makeup artists out there who are like me, who don't really feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, like most people, like I don't take too well to like people hovering over me and like making me feel weird about, like, not making me feel weird, but just kind of like, I've had experiences with other makeup artists who were sizing me up almost, like that's what I mean. Like it's hard to work with people who are kind of just you don't really know what you're doing. like I feel a lot of pressure when I'm working on a set because people see me and I'm young and I'm really tiny, and people are already like looking at me like I'm a kid and like I don't really know what I'm doing, and that puts pressure on me because I hate being watched and judged while I'm trying to work, and it makes me more likely to make a mistake probably, which is terrible, but I mean, what can I say? I'm sensitive. I'm getting off topic. Things that you need to have. First of all, you need to have everything. That is something that I wish I had known from the beginning, but it's okay. I learned the hard way that people rely on makeup artists to have things that I didn't even think about. I learned that it's not just about having makeup. You have to have everything, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready to be the makeup artist, sometimes the hairstylist. I know for a lot of you, hair and makeup go hand in hand, but that's not me. I'm not a licensed hair professional. Like I can put a curl or two in someone's hair, and I can put some clips and pins and some hairspray, but hair is not really my thing. I'm definitely just makeup, but it's good to have those hair things just in case. And also, brush cleaner, I recommend the Cinema Secrets brush cleaner. It's so good. The big one is really expensive, but you don't have to, like, once you have it, like, you have it. They sell the smaller one at Sephora and it's amazing. So I like that one, and I also like the makeup palette cleanser from Beauty So Clean. Beauty So Clean, I found out about them at IMATS when I went like a million years ago, only one time, which I regret only going one time, and I need to go back every year if I can, when I'm not a broke ass hoe. But yeah, I learned about Beauty So Clean at IMATS, and I bought this palette cleanser from them, and I love it. Cleaning tools is obviously super important to have, and I mean, I'm sure there are a lot, like other brands that have, you know, makeup cleansing products, but Beauty So Clean is, I just recently was on their website and they have so many products, so it's good stuff. It is like a little bit on the pricier side, but I think your cleaning stuff for makeup is something worth splurging on if you can. Like, I mean, if you don't have it now, obviously, you know, you can use alternative stuff. You know, there are other brands that are more affordable that you can buy from, but I would definitely like try to invest in like makeup cleansing stuff. Like, I mean, obviously you want your makeup to be clean, but just as far as like that brand, like brands, Beauty So Clean is pretty darn good. And I lost my train of thought. I feel like this is gonna happen a lot. I apologize in advance. I'm trying to make sure that I'm like talking to you, and I'm also trying to make sure I'm not like this, but it's okay. We're gonna get through this. It's fine. So maybe I should just read. Yeah, I'm a mess. I'm just gonna go down the list. Okay, nail polish remover, obviously. Basic colors like black, red, pink, pale pink, clear, and white. I would just, you know, try to have those basic colors on hand, unless they, for whatever reason, need like a specific color. I would just stick with those colors. And nail clippers. I would get like the bigger nail clippers and the smaller ones just in case, and like a nail file. But yeah, having those basic nail colors and like just like a little nail kit is a good idea to have. And also things like razors to shave people. I'll never forget the day I was on a film set and one of the actors asked me if I had an electric shaver to shave his head, and I was just like so caught off guard. Like, I never had to fucking razors, like I have to shave people. And another time someone like wanted to shave their legs or something, and I was just like I'm here to like put powder on people and make people cute. I wasn't aware that I would have to shave people. No, like I don't have razors, I don't have shaving cream. Like, why didn't you, if you knew you had to be shaved, why didn't you shave at home? But it was after that I was like, you know what, that is something that I'm going to invest in, because later on I was working on a show and someone needed razors, and again, like I didn't have any, because this wasn't exactly a common occurrence, but it was in the back of my mind. But like, I didn't have money to like get razors or anything, but I do have them now. Like, I do have shaving cream on hand and like, you know, disposable razors just in case anyone needs them. But you don't have to invest in an electric shaver thing if you don't have the means to, but like, it's something to think about down the line just in case, because people are going to be so happy with you if you have razors and maybe an electric shaver. Next on this list is floss, toothpaste, and Tic Tacs. I remember working on a film and one of the actors asked if I had any floss. And I did have some, and he was like, "You actually have floss?" And I was like, "Yeah, you need it, don't you?" And he was so happy, and he was just like, "Wow, like, cool, you have floss." And I know it seems like a silly thing, but like, it's definitely something that, like, again, like before, I never even thought about, but I was like, that's something that is definitely going to be useful. And I say Tic Tacs because I don't personally think it's a good idea to give actors gum, because they're like kids sometimes. Like they'll have it and they'll forget, and then the next thing you know, they're trying to spit it in your hand. And let me just tell you, if you ever try to spit gum in my hand, we're gonna fight. So you give them Tic Tacs if they need, like, you know, if they're like, "Do you have any mints or gum?" Always just have mints, like Tic Tacs or whatever you prefer. I know there's like a million different kind of mints, but as long as it's not gum, you should be good. But yeah, floss, toothpaste, and mints are a great idea to have. And even if you have like a little thing of like just mouthwash or something, I don't know, just like something like that. And again, like it's this random thing, because like people don't ask for toothpaste very often, but one person that I was working with did ask me if I had some, and I didn't. And I was like, now I feel like this is something that I need to add to my list, because you just never know when somebody might need toothpaste. So yeah, those things are good to have. And going back to having products for hair, on my list I have, even if you choose not to do hair, it's good to have things like hair paste, hairspray, of course, combs, and brushes. Nothing too crazy, like, you can get, combs and brushes from like any hair salon or CVS or just anywhere, just in case. I've worked on sets where there was no hair person, and like it wasn't like having a hair person wasn't necessary, but they still, they're like, "Do you have anything we should just like kind of fix his hair?" So yeah, so those are good things to keep on you. And I would definitely invest in an onset bag. Obviously, like the big, here, please hold, let me get mine. So obviously having like the big clear bag like this is what you want to have. I have this for when I go on set, but I also have my actual like case that's like big and has all my stuff in it, but like, excuse me, I don't always need to take that. So I do have this, but when you are done using this stuff and like working on, once you finish on all your actors, I would invest in like a smaller version of this to have with you on when you like go to be by the monitor, which we will get into the monitor thing in a sec. But yeah, it's just something small so you can have things that you need for touch-ups. And having like a smaller onset, I don't have one on me, but just like a smaller bag that you can keep your like essential things like brushes, powder, concealer, any lip product that you might have used for somebody, hairspray, and tissues. Always keep a little thing of tissues, because you never just that was another mistake of mine, is like not having tissues on hand and literally trying to use a brush to like wipe away somebody's tears because I didn't have tissue, and it was really embarrassing. I don't even want to talk about how many times that I've like embarrassed myself on set just from like how flustered I get. I embarrass myself really easily, but it's okay. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, so tissue, eye drops, those are things to have in your like little go bag when you're, when you have touch-ups to do. But just moving on to other things that you should have in your kit in general. Of course, rubbing alcohol as high as a percentage as you can get. Lip balm, the squeezy kind if you can find it. Like the squeezy kind, not, let's not make it difficult by trying to, well, I mean, I guess it's fine to, I guess it's good to talk about my mistakes. That's the whole point of this video, is to teach others to learn from my mistakes and give you tips on how to just, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But I had like the twisty, like I had like the 4-pack of the twisty chapsticks, and I was like, oh, this probably isn't good to have, like if people are, because it didn't occur to me for some reason, because I'm dumb, that people would just like, put it on their lips, and I was like, well, I can't let anybody else use this. So what I started doing was like raising it and then just cutting it off, and like, letting people have like on a little palette, and just like cutting the chapstick, and they would just use it. And then I was like, this is too complicated. So I invested in just like a squeezy thing, so people can, like if they need lip balm, just get the little squeezy kind. Next on the list, of course, is hand sanitizer and paper towels. Now you know what you need as far as, non-makeup products, essentials to have on hand when people need them. But let's just jump back into the actual makeup. This part, if you're still here, thank you, because now we're getting into the really important part of this video. Like, this is really, really crucial, especially to my non-black makeup artists. This part, I mean, it's for everybody, but this specifically, this is something that is very, very important to me as a black woman and as a black makeup artist. This part, listen up. Please remember that you want to be the makeup artist that has everyone's shade. I know this is a hot topic. I mean, this has been like a thing in like the beauty community, as far as like online influencers and beauty brands and things like that. But I think something that isn't talked about enough, for me anyway, is those issues in the world of film makeup artistry. And this is just speaking from my own personal experiences as being an assistant makeup artist, and just being the head makeup artist on some projects, and working with certain actors who have told me stories and have said things to me that have broken my heart, because they've worked with other artists that didn't even try to cater to them because they were of a darker complexion. And I have to laugh, because like, how can you even like, it makes me so just crazy. Like, how can you be so, like, what? Calm down. And not just foundation. You want to make sure you have everybody's right concealer, setting powder. All of those things are important, because you can have the right foundation for somebody of a darker complexion and maybe not have a setting powder that works for them. I have made all of these mistakes when I was first starting out. Not so much the foundation thing, like that was something that I always knew to keep in mind. It's like, I have black women in my family who are of a darker complexion than me, and practicing on them, like, I had to do research on the best products and things that I can use. And this was like early 2016, I want to say, maybe like 2015, 2016. So it was like kind of a little bit before these conversations were being had about inclusivity as far as like, you know, makeup brands and stuff, I think. But yeah, like you have to, it's not just about the foundation shades, it's about, you know, the concealers and the setting powders, because you can use a foundation that matches and then have, you know, that you think just because you're using a translucent powder that it's just gonna be fine, but it's definitely not always fine. So I invested in some setting powders of different shades, and I don't have like a lot, like I haven't really had like a lot of money to just like spend on trying different setting powders of different shades. Like the one that I have that I use right now, I have this one, you know, the Airspun, the OG. Like this is my favorite setting powder ever for like myself and like most people that I work on. But I also love, I have a setting powder that is of like a more kind of like a tan complexion. I want to say it's from Milk Cosmetics. That one I really, really like. And then I have a setting powder that's of a deeper complexion from Toothpaste, the Toothpaste setting powders that they came out with. I really like that one for when I'm working on deeper skin tones. So yeah, I mean, I know there are other brands out there that have a multitude of setting powders. I just haven't been able to personally try them. Maybe one day if someone decides to sponsor me, Hello Beauty Bakery, you know, maybe I can, you know, try out different setting powders. But there's just so many brands that have so many great products, and I just haven't had a chance to try. But I will. I want to. But those are just the ones that I currently use. But anyway, so let's talk drugstore brands. I know people, I mean, the brands that I'm gonna talk about, a lot of people probably have their own opinions on them, but these are things that just have worked for me when I didn't really have a lot of money, when I was first starting out. And when I was in makeup school, my teachers used the L'Oreal Infallible foundations at the time, and I was obsessed with them because, you know, I'm an oily person, and those were like the first foundations that I had ever really like used consistently that worked really well for me, because it was like a perfect like mattifying foundation, and it was just like, yes. So the L'Oreal Infallible, I think they have one now that's like, they have like the, I remember when they came out with like the glowy version of the Infallible, like that was like a huge deal at the time. But yeah, so the L'Oreal Infallible foundations, they've worked for me, they've never done me wrong. But I know the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, people seem to like those. I should probably look into more reviews on different drugstore brands, because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I haven't really used a lot since I've become a Sephora whore. Hashtag Sephora whore. No, just kidding. No, but I do buy a lot of stuff from there, just because, like, you know, it's Sephora, what can I say? It's like the makeup one-stop shop. But Ulta is coming for their neck. Now, Ulta's got some good stuff in there. But anyway, so yeah, the L'Oreal Infallible, the LA Girl Pro Concealers, those are everything to me. I still use those, and I will never not use those, because they have every color. I remember I think I ordered every single color on Amazon, because they had them in like this like big bundle pack, and it was just like every single one. So I have every color of the LA Girl Pro Concealers, and I love them. So those are a good investment. That way, like, if those are great, because if you're not really able to, like, I don't expect anyone who's a beginner makeup artist to be able to buy every single foundation shade that there is. That I couldn't do that. I had to, when I had my L'Oreal Infallible foundations, I I was a, what do they call it? I was a mixologist. I don't even know if that's the right term, but I'm just going to assume it is. I was like a mixologist. I was mixing colors to get the right shade because I was like, I only got like 3 of these, so I had to mix and match.
You're just gonna have to mix and match. Shut up.
So yeah, if you can't afford to buy like a shit ton of foundations right now, perfectly understandable. I would invest in the L'Oreal Infallibles and like just as many as you can grab, and those will go a long way with helping you. And then if you know, any drugstore makeup that you have, you can just mix those colors as well. Now, let me hurry up because this video is already getting kind of long. So yeah, so those, as far as like the drugstore brands, those are things that I'm sure I'm like missing other ones, but those are like the main ones that I did use and that I still currently use. But going back to the non-drugstore brands, of course, Fenty Beauty for the range. And again, I say like there are probably so many other brands that have the range, but I just can't think of. And it doesn't matter. The whole point is, make sure you are the makeup artist that has the range, you know, and practice color matching. If you're a non-black makeup artist, find your black friends, find whoever, and practice on them. I'm telling you, it's so important, because when I was in makeup school, I was the only black person in my class, which wasn't really helpful when we were learning about how to work on ethnic skin. Yes, that was part of the course, which is good, which is great, but they had to use me as the model. And you know, that, like, if you want to learn how to color match on ethnic people, it's good to have a range. But anyway, like you need to practice and, you know, work on people to properly color match. Like, you'll never know how amazing it is for you as the makeup artist and for your client to be like, you know what, I got you, like, we're gonna find the right shade. Because let me tell you, as someone that worked in retail for a little bit, as a makeup artist, I did have a lot of black women that would come into the store and be like, I need to be matched for a foundation, and be like, okay, like, let me sit you down, we're gonna match you. And the look that they give, like, we'll see. Like, and I get it, because for some reason it's really hard for people to match foundations for women of color, and that is something that I hope changes, and I have made it my personal mission to be a part of that change, because I can say with confidence now that I am the makeup artist that has everybody's shade. Because I've had actors who have come to set with their own foundation because they're just used to working with makeup artists that didn't bother to have their color, which is fucking preposterous, excuse my language. But how can you call yourself a makeup artist, and how can you be in the world of beauty artistry and not care about including everybody when you work? I could go on about my stories and makeup artistry and like working with other makeup artists who just didn't care about who they were working on. Like, they didn't have the range. Try to keep your space organized, you know, like when you're setting up your makeup station and everything, try to keep it as organized as possible. And trust me, I know that's easier said than done, because once you start working on people, especially if you have like multiple people to work on back to back, it gets really, really chaotic, and it gets really hard to try and keep the space clean. But trust me, just try to clean as you go. Excuse me. Oh my god, like I've got to stop drinking Pepsis before I film videos because I keep burping. I'm sorry. Always be where you're supposed to be at all times. When you hear cut in between takes, you make sure you're there for last looks. I cannot tell you how much I hate hearing those words. Can we get last looks? Every time I hear that, I'm ready to walk into traffic. And if you're a seasoned makeup artist, you know what I'm talking about. But maybe you don't care about that. I don't know. I have my own personal issue with hearing that term. It's like war flashbacks every time. Can we get last looks? I'm like, oh my god. Just last looks just means make sure you're ready for touch-ups in between takes. Now, sometimes it is necessary to go and repowder people, you know, just sometimes it's necessary, but I think people forget, especially people that don't do our jobs, I think people forget that makeup, like when we do makeup, we put it on to last, you know. I don't do my own makeup every day, like expecting to have to powder myself every 5 minutes, you know, like the whole point of, you know, film makeup is, you know, you want to not have any flaws or shine specifically, like, you know, that's a big thing, is like, you know, shine, like, you don't want them shiny. So, you know, I do my makeup on people to make sure it lasts, and so that I don't have to go powder people every 2 minutes. But just do it anyway, or just pretend to, because you know how to do your job, and you know when it's time to unless there's something specific and the director is like, do you see that? And you're like, okay, yeah, like I'll go fix that. But usually you don't really have to powder. I think they just I think the film industry has scared us into thinking that we have to just go powder people every 2 minutes. But like, if you're doing makeup, and like I know most of the time they're working under harsh lighting, it gets hot and people sweat, like, yeah, of course that's a thing, like, obviously, but most of the time I try to you just make sure, you know, everybody still looks good, and you don't want to have, like, you stay where you're needed, because the last thing you want is the director looking for you and you're not there. Like, that's like it's not a good look. So anyway, just be near the monitor. Wherever the monitor is, that's where you need to be, unless there's somewhere else that you've asked to be specifically. But if the director is in front of the monitor, you better be right there behind him or her, because if they see something, they don't want to be looking for you to tell you, like, you just make sure you're there to catch any mistakes that might occur, because the last thing you want is to be yelled at and embarrassed in front of a bunch of people, because it sucks really bad and makes you resentful and makes you want to quit your job and makes you never want to work in the film industry ever again. Good times. And just some final points. Familiarize yourself with everyone's job. This is gonna help you so much just in your career and in your, like, you know, when you're making those connections and getting more work. It's so important to know what everyone does. And I'm not saying you need to know like every detail about like what everybody does, but just like knowing people's names and their positions is a huge help, and something that I wish I had taken more seriously when I first started. Your director, your producer, your camera ops, wardrobe, sound mixers, the grips, electrics, all that noise. It's a lot, but just introduce yourself to everybody and make sure everybody knows who you are, because that's gonna help you, you know, make friends on set, which is so important. Me, when I first started, I still am like super shy, and because I'm really shy and really awkward when I meet new people, I tend to come off like not, I hate to use the word rude, just sometimes people forget I'm there. So you definitely want to make sure that people know your name and know who you are, what you're doing, and you know, just be friendly and just be personable. Trust me, like it's good to have people that, you know, you can kind of know and talk to if you're ever lost about anything. It's also good because, you know, you'll make more connections, you know, people will want to work with you more, and that's always a good thing because, you know, that's going to get you more jobs and it's going to get you more money. Have business cards if you don't already. If I got business cards, that was like one of the first things that I did, and I just went to Vistaprint. Vistaprint has like so many great templates for business cards. It's gonna make you look more professional and like you know what you're doing, and you know, this is not your first rodeo, so always have business cards on hand. Also, sides. So sides are like little mini versions of the script. So, and it has like all the scenes that you're going to be working on that day. So I would definitely always have those. Usually they'll provide them for you and you can just have them on you. But if you don't have any, always ask somebody, like the producer, ask somebody for sides. And trust me, it is going to save your life. You don't want to be a dummy like me and like, you're like, what are we working on? Like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, who, what? Having sides is super important because it helps you, so you know who needs to be worked on next. What are we working on? Oh, we're working on this. Cool. Like, I need you in the chair. You have a more sense of urgency when working on people, so you're not lost and you're like, well, I don't know who I'm supposed to be working on. Like, whatever. But yeah, having sides is just gonna make your life so much easier. Anyway, yes, always have sides. And oh, when someone comes in asking you what's your ETA, always just say 6 minutes, even if it's not true. Most of the time it's not true. But people who don't do makeup think that doing makeup takes like 5 minutes. And if you are somebody that can do makeup in 5 minutes, bless you, you're a wizard. I mean, obviously I'm not saying like take forever. You don't, like usually in film we're not doing a full face beat, right? Like we're just, you know, keeping it simple. But even still, like doing simple makeup, you know, takes a little bit of time. Like what people fail to understand is that I would argue our job is pretty damn important. It is our job to make sure the people in front of the camera, the stars of the movie or the show or whatever, look their best. I cannot guarantee that you're gonna look your absolute best if you only give me like 2.5 minutes to work on somebody. Like, do you want me to be fast or do you want me to be good? Because, you know, I try to always find a happy medium, but like I said, people who don't do our job thinks that our job takes 5 minutes. And what they don't realize also is essentially you are asking me to do an art project. When someone is doing an art project, we don't rush them when they're painting a picture on a canvas. We're painting pictures on people's faces, right? Sounds so silly, but it's true. Like we're makeup artists. We're making art. It takes a little bit of time. Like we want to make sure we get it right. And if it's like you're working on a series, you know, the first day when you're doing the makeup and you're figuring it out, or not even a series, like I worked on a movie and I had to do the same like three extremely different looks every single day over and over. But the first day that I was doing these looks and I was like trying to create the look that I was going for, it took a while because I was figuring it out. But then once you know what you're doing, you can kind of just like go a little bit faster. But anyway, I say all that to say, be fast, but like just say 6 minutes and just go as quickly as you can. But like also, you know how to do your job. So just don't even let anybody's bullshit get in your head. Just do your job the way you know how to do it, and be confident, and always stick up for yourself. I've worked with makeup artists who have made me cry on set because of reasons that we don't have to get into, but like you're gonna come across people who will try to make you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and you really have to have tough skin in this industry and not let people make you feel like you are less than them, because you're important. You're an important part of the team, and your job is important, and you know how to do your job. And it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to get things wrong sometimes. As long as you admit those mistakes and have a good attitude about it and are open to suggestion and open to help, you're gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. Like, I've gotten through some pretty tough gigs. It's hard, but you have to weigh like the good experiences versus the bad experiences. And I have thought about quitting doing makeup so many times just because I've worked with such awful people. But then I have an experience that really warms me and makes me remember why I started doing makeup in the first place. And then it makes me want to keep going. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I know I've rambled and I've talked a lot, and you know, I've run off into, you know, mini story times, and that's not what this video is supposed to be about. But in talking about the topic that I'm trying to put out there, you know, I think of examples and stories of, you know, that are relevant. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Is just be confident, stand up for yourself, and know your value, and have a good time, because at the end of the day, you're there to make money, and you're there to make connections, and you're there to do your job, and you're there to make people pretty or not pretty. I don't know, depending on what kind of job you're doing. But you're there to make amazing transformations, and just make sure you're comfortable and feeling confident. I hope anything that I said I hope what I said made sense, and I hope it was helpful. I know there's probably a lot that I probably missed, and if I did, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or comments, or, you know, anything. I'm more than happy to maybe talk about this topic again. I don't know, but I've gone on long enough. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed through this entire video, I love you. And I hope to see you in my next video, where I will be discussing my journey as a writer. So that should be fun. I will hopefully get a better handle on making videos that are cohesive and not so lengthy. But what can I say? I tend to talk a lot. Anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you all very soon.